All right. Hello, everybody. We are here today, and I'm going to be talking about why the self love path is not a quick fix, why it's not a destination, why it's not. Hi, Sammy. Sammy. um, why it's not about. Hi, Randy. Um, getting somewhere. It's not the self improvement path, and why this distinction is so different. Why this distinction is so important, and I want to really communicate why this path is so different and how it will radically shift your life without making your life a heaven that we all kind of think that we're working towards. Okay? So, again, in the self help, in the spirituality, in the personal growth, in the humans just being human world that we live in, all of us are experiencing pain. We're suffering. We have things that we don't understand. We have problems in our lives we don't know how to solve. We have issues that are coming up. We have trauma. We have places where we feel stuck. We have places where we're self-sabotaging. We're coping. We're looping, doing the same thing over and over and over again, trying to get different results, and it's not working. And we're frustrated. And that's normal, right? Like this human life that we are living is not simple. We are not simple beings. Life is not a simple process. It is complex. We are complex. And the fact that we have self-awareness is a miracle. It's a complete miracle of nature. It's a miracle of God. It's whatever you want to call it. It's a total miracle. And also, it's very challenging. It makes life a lot more complicated than if we didn't have the self awareness. Now, let's back up. Because right now, and even when you watch this video anytime in the future, I'm gonna promise you that you're gonna feel called to watch it when you're going through a period where it kind of feels like your life is exploding, where it feels like right now what's going on with a lot of people is they're feeling like the life that they were living up till now and the struggles that they were having and the kind of the path that they were on all of a sudden is like, this isn't the path. We got to shift directions. We got to change course. And there's a lot of feeling of like, holy smokes, what number one, how do I navigate this? Where am I going? What am I doing? What am I supposed to be? How am I going to get to being that person? How am I going to get to being in that life? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that is. Or we've had our lives kind of explode and we're in a kind of like dark night of the soul where we're facing a lot of inner emotion, turmoil, maybe emotion in the outer world as well. And right, the whole life we had, that trajectory we were on has changed, and we are kind of in a nothing zone, right? So it's not that we have this vision of who we're supposed to become and we don't know how to get there. That's one kind of side of this coin. A lot of other people are feeling that whole like, I had the vision, I had the thing, I was doing the whatever, and then coronavirus happened, the world exploded, like external circumstances really changed things, or we got exhausted. We got to a point where we couldn't keep going, where our bodies gave out, our mental emotional self gave out, we had some sort of break, and now we're kind of just like floating and having no idea where we're going, no idea what we're doing. And there's just right now it feels like there's a lot of just awareness. Like there's just an awareness that this isn't the path. There's an awareness of how lost we feel. There's an awareness of a lot of emotion. Just like a lot of like, what am I doing with my life? What have I been doing with my life? Is this right? What is the point? Why am I doing this? And it's that deep, dark, existential crisis of, I have to make this change and I don't know how. I'm facing these challenges and I don't know how to face them. Or everything that I was doing before no longer makes any sense. I can't do it anymore, and I have no idea what I'm stepping into. And I just want you to know that if you're feeling that right now, you're not alone, right? Like, of course, with what's happening on the planet right now, everything has changed. Everything is changing. And we're all, especially if we're on a personal growth path or if we're on any kind of a spiritual path, we're not just going with the waves of the world. It's not just everything was going fine and then coronavirus happened and now the world exploded and we're all just like, I don't know what happened there. We were already kind of feeling this. We were already going through this. We were already feeling the like shifts, right? Everyone was very excited about 2020 and here it is, and it's a massive 2020. I think we're all feeling that way. So this is why I really want to get in here right now and say, like, this is such a good time to get serious about the self-love path, to get serious about this work. Because right now we are all in a state where, and like, just again, politically, socioeconomically, all of these things that we're looking at and we're saying, we don't like how this is working. We don't like the results that we're getting. The system that we have is fundamentally harmful to pretty much everyone that participates in it. The system that we have is definitely set up to benefit some at the expense of others. And if we look at that, we just look at that for how it is, that's absolutely 100% true. And I hope that we're all kind of connecting with our humanity and saying, that doesn't feel good. I don't want that to be how it is. And at the same time, if we take a step back and we take a larger perspective, we can see that even those who are profiting from the system, who are the ones that are getting the money, the power, the resources, all the whatever they're getting, they are also not happy. They are crazy, right? Like they're literally insane, hoarding wealth beyond what they could ever need. They have to be so disconnected from their own humanity, their own feelings, their own self in order to live that way. And to the point where I know a lot of people look at them and say they are literally evil, they have demons, they have something going on, and I would just say, right, they are a product of the system. They are a product of that is what it looks like. That is what you have to become in order to be successful in this system. You have to be completely disconnected from your humanity because our system is inhumane. Our world systems are inhumane. Everywhere on this planet, we see governments overreaching their power. We see people who are not connected to each other, people who are not connected to themselves. We are raping the earth, right? Like, we can see this, that the way that we're living is not benefiting anyone. And now that we all have had this time where we're not out and about busying ourselves with our lives, everyone's kind of like getting a slap in the face of like, is this what we want to be doing? Is this where we want to be going? Is this the path? And what I'm wanting to speak to today is everyone who's already been on this, right? You this is no surprise to you. You are not shocked necessarily by this, but you are feeling, like I said, like your internal world is like, holy crap, I don't know what I'm doing. And again, I know a lot of people who in this time have actually kind of stepped into what they thought they wanted. They have come into what they were working towards and their goals, and things are happening. And now they're like, I don't know if I want this. Now that this is a reality, I got what I thought was going to make me happy. I got what I thought was going to make me joyful. I got what I thought was going to make me feel secure and successful. And it isn't it. It isn't it. Yeah? And like I say, we're all coming to this kind of reckoning of like, where do I go? What is my purpose? Because I thought I knew what it was, and now I see that it isn't that. Or, like I said, I'm facing all these challenges and all these struggles and I don't know how to keep going forward. Or I had to drop everything fell apart, and now I'm just in this black hole of not knowing what's going on. And what I'm trying to say about that is this is the perfect time to say, okay, the system that we have isn't working. The system that we have isn't working. The capitalist monetizing of the human being, productivity at all costs, you have to be disconnected from your humanity in order to succeed. Because this is, again, just take a step back and look at everyone who has succeeded in the system. There are very, 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 very few individuals who have been able to maintain their humanity and be actually philanthropic. And this is the other thing too that I'm just gonna throw out there to just question. Right? Like, even the philanthropic millionaire or billionaire, is that really alignment? To have so much more than others and feel like you are an authority to make the choice of what is good and what is best for others. Because that's essentially what charity is. That's what philanthropy is. It's, these people don't have enough, and I'm going to decide for them what they need. I'm going to make the charity, and this is the work we do, and all of this stuff, right? And I get it, right? We feel like, well, we're helping build infrastructure, we're helping medicine, we're bringing democracy, we're doing all these things to these countries and these people that are doing it wrong or don't have the resources. And it's kind of like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, what about just equally distributing the resources and not having anyone be the centralized power, not having centralized power at all, and each individual and communities make choices for themselves? Because this is, again, we couldn't have war, we couldn't have governments taking over, we couldn't have evil cabals or whatever we think we have if we lived in an equitable society, because then no one would have the resources to have that much power to go that out of alignment and take so many people with them. Like, this is the thing about equity, is that it would literally mean everyone has the right to kind of fuck up their own life, but then they would have so much less power to take everyone around them with them. But that would mean that we all have to give up our idea that it's okay to be able to make millions of dollars. And I want that for myself because I think that's going to make me happy, because I think that's going to make me feel safe. It's all coming down to this. Again, we are humanity with traumatized nervous systems that are operating under the assumption that if I just get enough love, enough acceptance, enough resources, enough power, I will be invincible, I will be untouchable, or I will be able then to fix all these things that I perceive to be the problem with the world, with what I think is hurting me, what I think is hurting other people, and I will have the power then to solve it, and then I'll feel better. And we have to recognize that, like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Humanity isn't going to get fixed like that. Humanity doesn't need to be fixed. We are all individuals on our individual journeys. And a lot of us have to go through a lot of things that are destructive and harmful and chaotic. And that's why, again, right, like, if we can let a child who is 2 years old go through the phase of throwing tantrums and hitting other kids, and we just get them to connect with their emotions while they do that. So yeah, they're causing harm, they're hitting other kids, they're throwing stuff, they're doing whatever, but the amount of harm that a 2-year-old can cause just by sheer lack of strength that a 2-year-old has, versus a 45-year-old who never got to learn that lesson, who was shamed and blamed and told not to hit, but he didn't get to learn through reality. Now he's an abusive 45-year-old with a gun, with power. He can go to war. Like, this is what we're seeing. That the trauma that's not dealt with in our childhoods, that 2-year-old who never learned that hurting and hitting other people might get you the thing you want, but it doesn't feel good. And sharing and cooperation and everyone getting to participate feels better. Because that 2-year-old didn't get to learn that. Because they were either shamed or blamed, or they get into this fear zone, right? Because again, when you're shamed, when you're blamed, when you're told that's bad, that's wrong, you don't know why. All you know is love is going away. These people that I depend on are rejecting me, and now I'm not safe. That triggers our nervous system. We go into survival mode, and then life starts to be about this constant weighing of who am I supposed to be and what am I supposed to do so that the external world will love me, or I have to manipulate to get my needs met. I have to be abusive, because if I'm not the one with the power, someone else has the power and they're going to use it over me. And this is how we are all living. And so we don't want an equitable society because we don't feel safe enough to have an equitable society. We all want more for ourselves than we actually need, because we all feel traumatized. We all feel incapable. We all feel vulnerable. And like I say, we don't learn when we're little, and we can cause a little bit of harm. And therefore, we continue on with our same traumas and our same misunderstandings, and we enact them in our adulthood when we do have power and we can impact a lot of harm. And that's the world we're living in. We are living in a world where most of the adults that exist are traumatized children who didn't learn from reality and now behave in ways that are inhumane because they are disconnected from their humanity. So again, I really want to just get everyone to understand that when we harm others, when we harm ourselves, when we are engaging in behaviors that we know don't feel good, but we can't get ourselves to stop, and we think we're lazy, we think we're broken, we think we're just lacking discipline, we just need to do this quick fix thing, we just need to go on this diet, we just need to... We are working from trauma because we are not just our choices. We all want to feel like we're in control of our lives and like we're creating our realities, and this was all a choice and everything I do is a conscious choice. And it's like, we are going to have to become okay with the idea that if we're hurting ourselves or others, we are not making a conscious choice. We are making a traumatized nervous system response. We got caught in fear. Our caregivers pulled away. We never learned why the pain was the pain. We never learned how to learn from pain. We never learned how to learn. We only had pain. Someone pulls away. I get a need. I have a need that doesn't get met. I need to manipulate. I need to change myself so that I'll be approved of, so that someone will meet my need, right? And then we look at our relationships, and we're all living in these relationships where we're expecting the other person to know us, to meet our unconscious needs, to predict us. And we're trying to people please because we think if we are pleasing enough, we'll be safe. They'll love us. They'll give us what we need, right? We have completely conflated safety with being loved and accepted. So this is the nervous systems we have. And when we feel rejected, when we feel like someone doesn't love us, we automatically go into fight or flight. Because to our nervous systems, that's death. Because we don't feel like adults who can take care of ourselves. So this is why I'm saying the self-love path is about recognizing that this is the world that we have built on the foundations of childhood trauma. This is the world that we have built upon the foundations of childhood trauma, which says there's not enough. I have pain, I don't know what to do about it. It makes me bad and wrong, or someone needs to save me. That consensus equals reality. That if we all agree this is what it is, we are living under the childhood trauma of I can harm another in order to benefit myself. Not true. And that connecting with my feelings and feeling what I feel and living from, if it feels good, let's follow that. If it feels bad, let's question it. We're not living from that, right? That's the traumatized child view. Relationships are about give and take and fulfilling something in me. And again, my purpose has something to do with a monetary value, a job, like what I can put on my resume, how I define myself, even this identity politics, where we're all so consumed with what's my pronoun and my sexuality and all these things. The fact that we're so concerned about that, again, tells us how deeply disconnected from our humanity we are. It shouldn't matter. In a humane world, people, as long as they are being respectful to themselves and respectful to others, it should be safe to be whatever you are. You shouldn't need to define yourself so that we have an understanding of what you are and you have an understanding of what you are, and then we don't feel threatened. Right? It's that we feel threatened by everyone and everything. And it's because we're disconnected from our humanity. So that's the foundation we have. That's the foundation of the system we're living in. And so if we're saying we don't like this system, this isn't how we want this to be, we need different foundations. We can't keep redecorating the same house. You see, like it's not about abolishing the police. It's not well, actually I really believe in the fundamentals of abolishing the police in order to create social programs, like a community. That makes sense to me. That like let's fund education, let's fund social work, let's fund food banks, let's fund having people have the resources they need to live a successful life. Because this is absolutely true. That Marianne Williamson said this, that hordes of disenfranchised people should be considered a national security risk. And that's exactly what she means by that, is that when people don't have what they need, when people feel deeply insecure, when they feel abandoned, when they feel alone, when they are literally not having access to that which they need to survive, we become desperate. That's when our crazy behavior comes out. That's when we hurt each other. That's when we act out of alignment with our humanity. Trauma is what makes us do that. It's not who we are fundamentally. So again, these are our foundations. So if we want different foundations, it starts with us. Because again, I see you all, my social activists, warriors. You want to convince the world of what you think is real and what you think everyone is a sheeple about, and you want to educate people and you want to wake everyone up. Okay, I get it. I hear you. I'm right there with you a lot of the time. But what is going to be your biggest power for changing reality, for making a new world? Is you checking out of the system we have and rebuilding yourself a new foundation of self-love. Okay, so now, what is this path of self-love? Self-love is not, I have gotten to a point where I know everything about myself and I completely accept everything about myself and I'm just fully expressed and I don't care what anyone thinks of me and I never have self-doubt again, and I never feel lonely, and I always feel connected to God, and I always feel in alignment and on purpose, and I'm never scared, and I never get sidelined by life again. That's what we all think it is. It's not that. It is not that. Okay, that's not what alignment is, and that's not what self-love is. Self-love is how we walk the human journey. Self-love is not a destination, right? When I do this work enough, I will get to a place where I fully love myself and I never don't like myself ever again. I fully know myself and I can completely express that. I'm always on purpose. That's what we all think self-love is. And it's not. It is not that. Because here is how life works. Here is how life works. Life has one characteristic that is shared between all living things. And that is that life must be growing. Life must be growing. In order for life to be life, it must be growing. And if it's not growing, it's decaying and heading towards death. And death, again, if we just observe nature, is a recycling process. It's that form of life has run its course. It's grown as much as it's going to grow. It's expressed as much as it's going to express. And now it's going to become something new because life wants to just keep growing. So if you or any part of life has reached its peak of this is how much growth is going to happen in this is how much new awareness is going to happen in this, it starts to decay so that it can be recycled into something new that will continue to grow. New experience, new information, evolution. So our bodies, our minds, our beings, our way that we all come with a foundational blueprint. Okay? So again, do we have ultimate control over who and what we can become? No. I will never be a 6'4" African-American basketball player. I don't care how much I manifest, there's no way I'm going to grow into that. There are limits to me. Okay? I have a blueprint that automatically put a limit on who and what I can do and become in this world. I am never going to be Beyonce. Doesn't matter how long I take singing lessons and performing and dancing and all these things. I will never have what she has. Period. I cannot become that. But the potential that I have to become what I can become is essentially unlimited within the context of me. So what I mean by that is every time I grow into something new, every time I express something about myself, every time I discover something about myself and I develop that, right? That involves challenge, that involves new awareness, that involves new practices, that involves bumping up against the limits of reality, that involves pain, that involves discomfort, all of these things of growing into new parts of myself, taking in new information about myself and about reality so that I can express in a new way. You can think of that like the pattern of me gets expanded, more complex. So if I start with I'm just a circle, and then I learn something new about myself, that circle now has a prong. And then I learn something else new and I have another prong. And I learn something else new and I have another prong, and another prong, and another prong. And then because of all that, I learn something new, and then the pattern of what I am can expand and become even more complex. And then that becomes the foundation for, so like, right, if we've ever seen a mandala, you know, it starts very simple in the center. And each layer becomes orders of magnitude more complex as you go out from the center. As you keep building on the pattern, it gets more and more complex. If we look at number patterns, we start from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We jump, right? And it gets more and more complex every single time we learn something. That is how growth works. And that's why I say we can have an infinite growth potential within what we are, because everything that we step into then becomes the foundation for the next layer of self that we're going to grow. So we never get there. As long as you want to stay alive, you're not ever going to know everything about yourself and be expressing everything about yourself. There's always going to be a new layer of evolution that you can step into. Because if you just grew something, that's now the foundation for the next thing you can grow. So we're never going to be done until you want to die, right? When you're done learning things about yourself and doing new things and having new experiences, that's when you start to decay. That's the infinite growth potential being cut off. So self-love is about recognizing there is no getting there. And the same thing with alignment. There's no such thing as ultimate alignment, because life is always expanding and growing. Just like our individual selves, we can never get it done. Because like I say, everything that you discover about yourself, that you mature in yourself, that you grow in yourself, is the foundation for the next thing that you can discover, mature, and grow in yourself, which will be the foundation for the next thing, and the foundation for the next thing, forever and ever, as long as you are participating in your own growth. Yes? And it is like that with reality. Reality is never going to be done. This life that we live, there will always be something new to step into, something new to grow into. And therefore, ultimate alignment, where we're never having anything new to learn. We never have to bump up against the limits of reality. We know it all. And we can live in a way where we never go out of alignment with how reality works. Is not possible. Because there's always going to be something to discover. There's always going to be something new. So what is alignment and what is self-love? Alignment and self-love is choosing to be in your moment and aligning with what is pertinent for you right here, right now. Self-love is, this is where I am. I am feeling this way. I am experiencing this experience. I am learning this thing. I'm lost. I'm confused. I'm scared. I'm alone. I feel this. I feel that. Here I am. And rather than abandoning myself, shaming myself, looking to fix myself, looking for someone to rescue me, childhood trauma foundation, when I'm in pain, when I'm uncomfortable, when I don't know, I need to shame myself, blame myself, reject myself, blame someone else, get someone to save me. I'm going to show up for myself. Like that adult I never had, who first says, it's okay that you feel this way. Hi, Natalia. It's okay that I feel this way. It's okay that I feel this way. This is not my fault. I've not done something wrong. Reality does not judge. And you will figure this out for yourself. You will experience this. Because again, these are all things that spiritual teachers have been saying forever. And it doesn't fucking matter until you experience it for yourself. Right? We are all living, again, from the childhood traumas perspective, the education system perspective, that there's a right and a wrong, and it's a test, and you don't know if you passed or failed the test until the end. That is not how reality works. Reality is telling you all the time, every minute of every day, if you're getting it or if you're out of alignment. That's what pain and pleasure is. Okay? You don't have to wait till the end of nothing. If you're in pain, there's something out of alignment. If you're experiencing true pleasure, there's something in alignment. If you're, of course, in consensus reality pleasure, you're just really happy because you're being loved and approved of, you're going to notice that that's a high. And then there's a crash when the approval goes away, or when you can't maintain it, or when people go, or whatever. You see? And like I say, consensus reality pain is I am doing something that feels really right to me, and people aren't liking it. And I can't convince them, and I can't get them to see my point of view, and this is awful. That's consensus reality pain and pleasure. And it takes time for us on the self-love path to determine which is real pain and pleasure and which is consensus reality pain and pleasure. And that's a part of this. And how we do it, again, is still the same. It is a practice of learning how to show up for ourselves in our moments, to be in the pain we're in, to be in the pleasure we're in, to be in the emotion we're in, to be in the experience we're in. And rather than running and looking for blame and shame, we first make it safe by loving ourselves. Because again, this is just how our nervous systems work. And if you feel like you are making bad choices over and over again, like you're constantly self-sabotaging, you're coping, you're doing your bad habit, you're on the diet and off the diet, and stopping drinking and starting drinking, and in school and out of school, and you're in the relationship and you're out, and you feel like you're making bad choices. Hi, Mike. You're not making bad choices. Your nervous system is programmed, and it is controlling you. And that's not your fault. You feel scared. You feel vulnerable. You feel like resources are going to go away and you don't know how to provide for yourself. And your nervous system is kicking in and getting you to do whatever you learned to do in your childhood. That's what that is. You're not making choices. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, you can see that it's hurting you and you can't stop, you're not choosing. Your nervous system is choosing for you. You're in fight or flight, and we need to embrace this. So this is why we say, okay, as much as I wish I could discipline this out of myself, self-help it out of myself, visualize it out of myself, meditate it out of myself. Okay? We all think, I can Joe Dispenza this away. I can Tony Robbins this out of me. I can discipline. I can just do better. I can just... No. The only way out is understanding how our nervous systems work. And that is right now. Love and acceptance equals safety. Because that's how it was in your childhood. So that's how your nervous system is programmed. And we just need to embrace that. If we can just understand this fundamental concept. Love is what equals safety to us. That's why we're all so addicted to everyone loving us. Because the fundamental truth is that which feels good to you, and the thing that feels good for everyone, is growth. And growth happens naturally when we are in a state of safety. So that's why we're all constantly chasing hoarding stuff, power, success, fame, what the success we think we need to have, the being the people we think we need to be, the people pleasing, the spirituality where we're constantly like, well, am I doing it right? Should I do it like this? We're striving, because we're all looking for that safety that will finally let us relax so that our natural blueprint can grow. So this is why self-love is a path. Because what it says is, I'm going to start to show up for myself and practice giving myself that loving space inside. Because if I want to grow, if I want to be happy, if I want true joy in this life, it's not going to come from achieving anything. Because there's never going to be an end. We're never going to get there. And if we're constantly waiting to get there, we will never have joy. Joy comes from Joy comes from alignment with our moment. Being able to grow. Being able to grow. And nothing more and nothing less. So, what we need to recognize. Oh, there we go. So, sorry if you're watching this video, it paused on Instagram. So I'm just going to recap. True joy comes from the freedom to grow. When we feel safe and loved, and our nervous systems were tended to, growth is natural. Becoming who you need to become, reaching your potential, continually going for that next thing, being able to shift your behaviors from harming ones to less self-harming ones, requires that you understand the need that you're meeting in your harmful behaviors. It requires that you start to understand why you're doing what you're doing, the positive intention behind absolutely everything, and then how to interact with reality in a new way to get those needs met in a way that serves you better. That's all it's going to be. You're never going to stop binging or stop drinking or stop abusing yourself or others. You're going to realize, oh, this is the need that I have, right? Like, I hate my job. I hate this thing. I can't cope with this life that I'm living. So I have to change my life. And then I don't need that coping mechanism anymore. Or this is the way that I relax. Or this isn't the only way I know how to shut down this part of my personality that gets me rejected. And now I have to learn how to express that anyways. And how to love myself when everyone rejects me. And then in doing that, I don't need the coping mechanism anymore. I don't need the self-sabotage anymore. It's everything we're doing is meeting a need. Everything we're doing is it's the best we know. So that's why I say self-love is a path where we start to become our own safe place. Because everything we want to change about the world, everything we want to change about ourselves, everything we want to grow into, everything we think, it doesn't matter. The growth that you need to feel joy in your life will naturally occur when you feel safe. So this is why the message is, it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of literally I have no idea what's going on, I'm completely blank, and I just have no motivation for anything, and I don't want to do anything, and I feel just completely zonked. And everything gives me anxiety. To, okay, I have this vision for who I want to become, and I have no idea how to freaking get there. The answer is the same. Make yourself feel safe where you are right now. And if your external environment is not safe, okay, that is something you do not discount. Do not try to positive think your way out of that. Don't tell yourself it's safe when it isn't. Don't tell yourself, right, shaming and blaming yourself through this whole, like, how did I choose this and how am I manifesting? No. Start with, my external reality is not safe. And that doesn't feel good. And I don't like it. And I want it to be different. And I don't know how to fix it. And I don't know how to change it. It is not my fault. And I am going to be internally here for myself. I may not be able to change anything on the outside right now. And I really want to. But I am not going to beat myself up. I am going to be that safe place where I can say, I hate this. And then inside, the thing I say to myself is, yeah, that's okay. I love you. I see you. I see that you're being antagonized. I see that this external environment is not safe. And I see you. I validate you. You deserve a safe space. This isn't your fault. This is what this looks like. And this is why I say it is a practice. Because in the beginning, you are not going to feel it. You're going to be so identified with the negative things that are going on in your life, with your negative emotions, with all these things. It doesn't feel like there's a higher voice or something bigger necessarily all the time that can love you inside of that. but it is a practice. If you keep showing up, and this is why we develop the witness, right? All spiritual traditions that talk about the witness, that's what this is. You develop your capacity to see your emotion as something that's occurring, not who you are. To see your circumstances as something that's occurring, not something that is you, that you're stuck in forever. To see your thoughts as something that is occurring, but not you. We develop our capacity to connect with this part of ourselves that is witnessing the whole thing. Because that's the part that will be your inner parent. The part that's witnessing is the part that then can come in and say, it's not your fault and I love you and I'm here with you. And please, please, please hear me when I say this. This is something you develop. This is something you develop. You have to put in the time and the energy and the effort, and it's not going to feel good right now, and it's not going to feel amazing right now, and that's okay. You develop the witness. So you just start with, can I feel my feelings and feel where I feel them in my body and notice that they're in my body, and then there's a part of me that's watching? Can I notice my thoughts and there's a part of me that's noticing my thoughts? Can I be in my experience and there's a part of me that's witnessing my experience? Develop the witness. And then as you get that witness going, you start to make that witness your best friend. That witness part of you loves you. I am here with you. I see you. We're going to figure this out together. That phrase, when you develop the witness and then you can have that witness say, we're going to figure this out together because it's not your fault. We're going to figure this out together. It's not your fault. That's what this is. And then you start to become empowered to make the little changes you need to make, to do the little shifts you need to shift. You'll start to have the awareness that you need to have. Slowly over time, the growth will be natural, and it will be tending to your moment. So again, you want to change the whole world. You want to convince everyone of everything. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how loud you scream. It doesn't matter how much you post it on the internet. People believe what they believe. You're not going to change anyone's mind that way. You tending to your moment. Doing what is pertinent right now. So you start to actually embody your life. What needs to be dealt with right now? What's actually happening right now? Are they forcing me to get a vaccine right now? No. Is there anything you can actually do about that right now? Are you in front of someone who has power? Or is it all happening in your head? Okay, if it's just happening in your head, love yourself. Be there with yourself. That's trauma. Be with that trauma. Let it move through your body. Validate yourself. Journal about it. Cry. Where did you first feel this feeling? This is a trigger. This isn't the first time this has happened. Be with you. Be with you. Be with you. Then tend to. I gotta get my food. I gotta get my water. What in my immediate environment can I do to support the world I want to support? So what's really happening right now? Well, I gotta go grocery shopping. So what are you gonna choose to buy? With your money and your power, who are you gonna support? What are you gonna watch? Whose attention are you going to give yourself to? What are you going to create? Are you going to bring order to your own home? Right? Before you go and pluck the splinter out of someone else's eye. Take the plank out of your own. What is in your environment that needs tending? Your community, the people actually around you that have a connection with you. Can you have a civil, reasonable conversation with them where you're open to their perspective just as much as you want them to be open to yours so that you can learn something? Are you open to learning, or are you just in a state where you think you have it all figured out and you know what the answers are and you're just going to project that out onto the world forever? Because it's not how it's going to work. That's not equity. And so this is what I'm saying. Learning to tend to your moment is not bypassing action. Because there might come a time where in your moment you got to go to the protest. The thing that's pertinent in this moment is, I will not do this because this is actually happening right now. I'm going to make this big life-changing choice. Those moments will happen, and you will be prepared if you know how to make yourself safe so you can actually think in your moments, you can actually reason and not just go into nervous system trauma. And if you have been tending to your life all the way up to that point, you will be prepared to make the big choice. You'll be ready to move because you will have gotten rid of all of your stuff because it just felt like you needed to clean it out and you were tending to your moment and you were cleaning up your house and then you get the job offer and you're ready because you were tending to your moment. If you're just worrying about what am I going to do to get the job and you're off in the future where you can't do anything about that right now, and then you didn't tend to all this stuff, now you have this whole mess you got to clean up before you can take your step. Life will prepare you for wherever you're going, step by step by step by step, and you don't have to get sidelined if you take care of your moment. So this is the path of self-love. It's not a destination. It's how we live life. It's how we do the journey. We are different. Being on the self-love path is a different journey. We embrace life and handle life differently. Meaning we're not running around like chickens with our heads cut off, looking for power, fame, money, success out there. We're learning to love ourselves inside, to validate who and what we are, to develop who and what we are in that state of safety. We come into safety, we validate ourselves, and then we understand that it's just each moment. So we don't have the power to ultimately change everything, right? If our environment is really chaotic, we're never going to be able to just get out of it. It's not one thing we're going to do. It's going to be a bunch of little steps. And if you keep showing up to your moment, making yourself safe, and then what is pertinent in this moment, you take a little step, and a little step, and a little step, and a little step, and a little step. And over time, all of a sudden, you're out of that house. You're out of that environment. You've built a whole new thing for yourself. New foundations that then created the space for a new experience. So if you're doing the same thing over and over again, love yourself safe. Start to show up, right? Witness yourself in your behavior. Just witness it. It's not all of me. 99% of me is doing whatever I'm doing right now, but there's 1% of me that's watching me do it. And this 1% of me that's watching me do it isn't going to judge me. It's just going to love me for who I am. It's going to assume innocence instead of guilt. And this is a practice. Over and over and over again. We start to witness ourselves and assume innocence rather than guilt. What do I need right now? What's really going on? What triggered this in my past? Why do I think I need to do this? Do I feel alone? Do I feel isolated? Can I be here for myself? Developing the witness, developing the witness, developing the witness. And then, what is pertinent in my moment? What is pertinent in my moment? Do I need to just feel my feelings? Do I need to cry? Do I need to shake and dance? Do I need to have a conversation? Do I need to clean something? What do I need to do in my environment to actually nurture myself? To take care of my environment? To take care of my moment? What is pertinent and actually happening right now? And everything else, if I can't actually do anything about it, it's not the time. It's not the moment. And we trust that if we keep doing what's actually pertinent in each moment, what feels actually good right now, or what feels right now, because again, we all have traumatized nervous systems, so sometimes doing the right thing, what's really right for us, is going to feel bad. And that's okay. We move through that. That's why we learn to be with our emotions. I've talked a lot about that. You can watch a lot of my videos, all my nervous system videos. Go watch them. It takes time and energy and effort to build these new foundations of a new way of responding to life. That we don't run from pain, we don't shame ourselves, we don't look to numb and stimulate. We learn to start to be with ourselves. We learn to start to witness. We learn to make ourselves safe, and then we learn to take care of our moment. And then that's how we live life. That's what the self-love path is. Because then you're always going to be discovering something new. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be times where everything gets rocked. I've been doing this for ever. And I still get sidelined by life sometimes. But in a way where I'm like, I can handle this. I have that inner witness so developed. I'm here with you and we're going to figure this out. That I can take huge steps in my life and make massive changes overnight. Because I've tended to my moment to be that kind of person. And when that's not happening, I'm tending to my moment. I'm just writing an article. I'm just getting groceries. What's the most aligned thing I can do right now? Because I'm never going to be in ultimate alignment. I'm never going to cause no harm. I'm never going to be perfect. But what can I do right now? What's the best I can do right now? And then that's enough. That's enough. What I am capable of right now is enough. And that's not saying that I will never become capable of more. It's I always will become capable of more. But that's not a reason to not like who I am right now. I like who I am right now so that I can become capable of more. Because growth happens naturally when life is tended. So, pay attention to yourself right now. It's a path. Develop the witness. Develop the loving witness, who then can say, what's pertinent in my moment? Be in your moment. Be where your power actually is. Feel what feels right. Spiritual teachers can tell you all they want what a life of alignment looks like. It doesn't matter. You will figure it out through feeling it. You will know, I don't want to do this. I do want to do this. This feels right. This feels good. And then you'll read the sutras and be like, oh, I'm already doing all that stuff. I didn't need anyone to tell me. When I followed pain and pleasure, I naturally learned that. I naturally live like that. That's what will happen. You will discover the secrets of the universe, the natural laws, the universal laws, all this stuff. No one will have to teach it to you. Reality will teach you through how it feels. It's not magic. Reconnect to your humanity. So, your trauma is not your fault. Your conditioning is not your fault. Love yourself safe in whatever you're in right now. Practice that. That's your one thing. Over and 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 over again. Make that your life. And then what is pertinent in this moment? And if you don't know, make that okay. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be lost. I'm just going to be here with myself while I'm confused and lost and don't know. Okay? This is how we do it. We build these new foundations so that we can be in the moment and do what's pertinent in every moment. And that's how we build something new. All right? So I love you. I hope that was helpful. Self-love is the path. It's not, I understand everything about myself and now I'm this. It's, I will always be learning, growing, and evolving and changing. And that's safe. There's nothing wrong with me. And I'm always going to be changing and growing. The paradox, and now I'm going to walk the path. Okay? My heart to yours. Have a fabulous night. Be safe. Love yourself. Love your nervous system. You're worthy of everything. Okay? Love you so much. Mwah.